Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard list review. Today's list was sent in by Stephen Peterson. Thank you very much, Stephen Peterson, for sending me in this list. And thank you for being a Patreon supporter. Something I've started doing, guys, is basically if you are a Patreon supporter and you want me to do a list review, then I will go the extra mile for you and I will do a video review. If you are not a Patreon supporter and you want me to do a list review, then that's absolutely fine. You can send me a list to my email address, oddworldinhabitant1293@gmail.com. But if you're not a Patreon supporter, I'll still get back to you, but it'll just be an email with some bullet points. Normally I do sort of between 5 and 10 bullet points on how I would improve your list, or things that I've noticed that maybe you could make a few unit changes, you could trim a bit of fat, and then you'll be able to sort of afford a few more units with the points you've saved. So yeah, that's generally it. So once again, thank you. Every Patreon, every dollar is massively appreciated. So this is the least I can do for you guys. Very quickly, I am planning on getting some proper rewards in place. I mean, I've put my little sort of titles in place. So if you donate $1, you get the conscript title. $2, you get to be a guardsman, so on and so forth. There will be proper giveaways coming soon. I am mulling around in my old skull. I am thinking about some sort of Christmas giveaway for one lucky Patreon. So that'd be good. And maybe I've got some other bits and bobs I could give away for some other Patreons as well. So there'll be a few rewards going around at Christmas time. But enough about the Patreon. I know you guys don't like me banging on about it. I try and keep it on the down low. Just as always, thank you very much. And now it is time for the proper list review. So, like I said, the list was sent in by Stephen Peterson. There'll be a link down in the description. And let's take a look. Right. I'm just going to have a quick look over it. I'm just trying to get a little feel for the vibe of the list. Right. Okay, excellent. Right. Just want to say, guys, the picture that you're seeing today is a picture that Stephen sent in to me of his extremely awesome looking Catachan force. I know I normally have this sort of command center artwork, but I thought I'd put this up instead because it looked pretty cool. And it's very impressive. I mean, that's a very impressive Catachan force Steve has been collecting for a long time. So let's go through the list. So I believe the first detachment you have is a brigade, and then the second detachment you have is a battalion, and the third detachment you have is a spearhead, which is 9 plus 3 plus 3 plus 1 is 16 command points. Okay, so it's a 3 detachment list. Nice variety of detachments, no repeat detachments. We've got a brigade, a battalion, and a spearhead. Straight off the bat, without even going into the units, that is very good. There are a lot of tournaments now these days which are not allowing you to bring repeat detachments. A lot of tournaments are saying single detachments as well, even up to 2,000 points, which is crazy. But if there are multiple detachments, most tournaments are saying you cannot repeat detachments. So you can only take one brigade or one battalion or one spearhead or one outrider or one vanguard. So there you go. So already, without even looking at the units, this is good redundancy built into this list. This list could be taken to pretty much any 2,000 point tournament and wouldn't need to be adjusted in that way. So that's good. So let's take the big bad boy first. Let's take a look at the brigade, because I imagine this will form the core of the list. So we have a company commander with a plasma pistol and a chainsword, a company commander with a bolter and chainsword, a company commander with a bolter and chainsword. So 3 company commanders. Okay, moving on to the troop section, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 infantry squads. Each infantry squad, 4 have plasma and 1 has flamer. Okay, priest with a chainsword, special weapons squad, 3 plasma guns, special weapons squad, 3 flamers, veterans, 3 melter guns and a plasma pistol, command squad, las cannon and regimental standard, gunnery sergeant Harker, and then rough riders, lots of Rough Riders and some heavy weapon squads. Right, okay. So, going through, straight away, I wouldn't bother with a plasma pistol on your company commander. Okay? I know Catachan commanders are keen to lead from the front, so that all your guys are getting that +1 ballistic, +1 leadership. I appreciate that, but it's still, in an ideal world, even with Catachans, even with your +1 strength, I kind of view the Catachan +1 strength more of a defensive doctrine or regimental trait than an offensive one, because you kind of want it where if the enemy charges you or you have to counter-charge them, you can use your +1 strength. But you might not want to necessarily be going out there to be snapping necks, cashing checks. You still want to be a shooting army. You still are primarily a shooting army. It just means you have a bonus in combat. Doesn't mean you should actively be seeking it out. Okay? As strange as that may sound. Not with your commanders anyway. So I would get rid of the plasma pistol there. The bolters on the company commanders, they're fine-ish. If you've got a few points left over at the end, that's fine. You could still drop them, you know. And as per the latest sort of one of the latest FAQs, it's perfectly fine to take shotguns on your company commanders again now. So consider swapping those plasma pistols and bolters out for a cheeky shotgun. They are very fluffy for Catachans and also pretty powerful, so consider that. If not, I would still consider dropping them and just taking Las Pistol Chainsword. Infantry squads with Plasma and Flamer. They're fine. I wouldn't change too much about those. I can clearly see that your mentality for this army is kind of to be foot mobile. You don't want to be standing still too much. I can appreciate that, but what you still want to take into account, considering what else you've got coming up in your other detachments, is you do have vehicles, you do have heavy weapon squads. Your infantry are kind of there to screen them, and if they're screening them, a lot of the time they're going to be standing still. So it's not a bad idea to take heavy weapons in your infantry squads. It's not the worst idea. The priest. Now, I know what you're going for here. You want to take like a blob of infantry, get a priest in there, get them in close combat. I understand. Guard are not a close combat army. You can go very, very hard into making them a close combat army, but even with Catachans, I'm not sure you want to be actively seeking out that close combat. I think you want to be using your close combat as a defensive measure. Priest's okay, but he's 35 points. If you take that 35 points, you take the plasma pistol, you take the couple of bolters, we're already looking at another squad, another infantry squad. And if you ask me, tactically speaking, that's going to serve you much better. That priest is so-so. Special weapons squad with 3 plasma, special weapons squad with 3 flamer. Fine. I have no issues with that. I see a lot of people going for plasma special weapons these days, special weapons squads these days. Yeah, only issue is, do you have a way of getting those guys around the flamer and the plasma squads? I don't really feel that you do. I don't see any chimeras. I'm having a look. I don't see any chimeras. So the triple flamer special weapons squad might struggle to ever really do much, because typically what you want to do with special weapons squads is have them in a chimera, or better yet, have them in a Valkyrie. You drop them out, or you move out. You move your transport forward, then you get out, then you move into flamer range, then you burn the shit out of people. That's what I tend to find where they work best. 3 flamers, the majority of the time, they're just going to give away an easy kill point. That's all they're going to do. They're just going to give away an easy kill point. So, not sure. Your veterans, 3 melter guns and a plasma pistol. Again, I like it. But again, I'm looking at this list, and I don't see a way for you to maneuver these veterans into range. If you're taking foot veterans, you want to take advantage of their ability to deal out long-range firepower. you want to take advantage. You might as well pay one. If you take a melter guns, you might as well pay 1 point more and take plasma guns. Veterans with plasma guns and a las cannon, I can attest to how powerful they are, and other commenters on this channel and other viewers will attest to how powerful las cannon plasma gun veterans are. But ideally, you kind of want 2 squads of them. 1 squad is easy to pick off. Your command squad with the las cannon regimental standard, okay, I can see it and I can dig it. I would recommend you put the las cannon into your veteran squad and just keep your command squad with the regimental standard. That regimental standard is going to be kind of key to you holding the line. It's going to be your ticket into the magical realm of Leadership 9 guardsmen. If you put a las cannon in it, it's going to get targeted and it's going to die. So it's generally best to keep the command squads cheap. I have played a few games with upgunned command squads, and they generally got a turn of shooting off before my opponent got wise to them, and then they died, and they didn't do enough damage because they're only 1 or 2 shots per squad. So I recommend you put the las cannon in the veteran squad and you just have a regimental standard in your command squad. Gunnery Sergeant Harker, fine. No real criticisms there. He's a fantastic general buff unit for your regiment. 3 lots of Rough Riders, 5 Hunting Lancers in one, 5 Hunting Lancers in another, and 3 Hunting Lancers and 2 Melter Guns in the third. I have no criticisms of this at all. That is powerful. It's good. Only thing I would say is, have you considered plasma guns? I mean, you're spending 24 points. Oh, and a plasma pistol, sorry. You're spending 24 points, 29 points to get 2 melter guns and a plasma pistol. Or you could spend 28 points and get 4 plasma guns for your Rough Riders. That's not a bad idea. Heavy weapon squads with mortars, heavy weapon squad with heavy bolters, and heavy weapon squad with mortars again. So 6 mortars and 3 heavy bolters. Right, I like mortars and I like heavy bolters. I'm not entirely convinced by heavy weapon squads. However, it's a big however, I appreciate you're running a brigade here, and I appreciate you're trying to fill that brigade out relatively cheaply. Also, so that means heavy weapon squads are good for that. Also, I don't like heavy weapon squads because they're very easy to kill, but if you are going to take them, making them as cheap as possible is very valid. So I actually have, even though a lot of you guys know I have a bit of a disdain for heavy weapon squads because they're so easy to kill. I've seen so many guard commanders run them for like 5 or 6 games, then drop them, and they're just a waste of money. However, for the purposes of fulfilling the brigade detachment, I think they're a very, very good idea. So no criticisms there. So going through, what am I saying you should change on the brigade? I would consider just sacking off the idea of close combat. Use it as a tasty bonus, but don't go actively searching for it. Get rid of that priest. Drop the plasma pistol. Drop the bolters on your commanders. And you kind of need to find a way to get those veterans and special weapon squads, and kind of need to find a way to make them work. So I would consider, with all the points that you save there, I would consider, it's difficult to say, I mean, I don't know, I mean, I would almost say, you want to drop the priest and the couple of special weapon squads, and that'll give you enough points to get, and with the other little bits that you drop, that should give you enough points to get another plasma las cannon squad. Okay, this is what I would potentially recommend. Okay, potentially. You drop the plasma pistol, you drop the 2 bolters, you drop the... Let's actually add this up so I'm not just bullshitting you. Right. You drop the plasma pistol, 5 points. You drop a bolter, you drop a bolter. Okay. You drop a special weapon squad with plasma. You drop a special weapon squad with flamer. You drop the priest. You shift the las cannon into one of your melter squads already, so into one of your veteran squads, and you drop the plasma pistol. Okay, now you then upgrade one of your veteran squads that you've already paid for to have plasma, so that's -3 points, and then you buy another veteran squad and you give them 3 plasmas and a las cannon. Right, that leaves you with 15 points left over. If you want to, you can then go and spend those 15 points on giving out upgrades to your other units. Okay, but what I'm trying to show you here is that by switching those melter guns to plasma guns and the veterans and giving them a las cannon, they can contribute to the game every single turn. By the special weapons squad with the flamers without any transports isn't really going to achieve much all game. It might get one blast off and then die, so you probably don't want to bother with that either. If you then drop the other special weapons squad, which has 3 plasmas, so that's fine, but then you buy another veteran squad and put those 3 plasmas in that veteran squad and give them another las cannon. What you've got yourself there, for a little bit of, mixing and matching, what I'm trying to say is, what you've done is you've taken away some useless upgrades, which you actually have enough points to buy back in. But what you've done is you've got rid of a priest, because one priest on his own is never really going to help you. You've got rid of a priest who's not really going to achieve much. You've got rid of special weapons with flamers, which is rarely going to achieve much in a game. And you've essentially upgraded one of your plasma special weapons squads to a plasma veteran squad with a las cannon, and you've upgraded your other veteran squad to have plasma and las cannon, and what you've got there are 2, for the price of one unit that's not going to do anything and another unit that's not going to do anything, you've upgraded, so you've got 2 squads which are always going to contribute to your game. And like I said, I can attest to the power of las cannon plasma gun veterans. They are worth their points. There are a lot of people online who poo-poo veteran squads, a lot of them, and generally speaking, I severely disagree with them. 2 or 3 las cannon plasma veteran squads are very, very powerful, run on foot. I like taking veterans and chimeras as well, and they're powerful. If any of you watched my last Death Watch versus Cadian battle report, you saw what my plasma vets did. They did not let me down. So, there you go. Moving on to the next detachment, because we spent a lot of time on that brigade, but that's where I felt the most input was needed. The other 2 detachments I don't feel need as much talking about at all. So, you've got a Scion detachment, essentially. Now, I'm going to assume you're running these as Scions to get the bonus from their regimental doctrine. My only concern is you may not be able to do that because you've taken a Primaris Psyker. So you've gone Primaris Psyker, Tempesta Prime, Astropath and Astropath, and then you've taken 3 Scion squads. Now, just swap that Primaris Psyker to a Tempesta Prime. Just swap it, okay? And then take your 2 Astropaths and put them in your brigade. You should have the room to do that with the other changes that I've recommended. And then you can fully take advantage of your regimental doctrine. Otherwise, you're not taking advantage of it. And the regimental doctrine for stormtroopers is really good. If you roll a 6 to hit, you get to fire your gun. Well, you get an extra shot, which is good with a melter gun. If you get a 6 to hit, you get to fire again. And considering you've taken a lot of melter guns, there you go. Now, speaking of the unit choices you've made, so swap that Primaris out for a Tempesta Prime, no questions asked, okay? That gives you... that's fine, so that would be 2 Tempesta Primes with Rods of Command, that's fine. Then you have 3 Scion squads, 2 Scions, all 5-man, 2 of them with double melter and a plasma pistol, absolutely fine, no questions asked. 1 Scion squad with double plasma gun and a plasma pistol, again, no questions asked, love it. And then you stick your 2 Astropaths up in the other detachment, and bam, you've got a full Katajan detachment, and you've got a full Tempesta detachment, and that means you're taking advantage of multiple doctrines, which is tasty. Moving down into the final detachment, you have a tank commander. It's a spearhead, I should say. You have a tank commander with battle cannon and heavy bolter. You have a basilisk with heavy bolter, a manticore with heavy bolter, a griffin with heavy bolter, a hellhound with Heavy Flamer and Stormbolter, and an Engine Seer. We've put Force Axe, but I assume you mean Omniscire Axe, whatever the fuck it is. Yeah, it's fine. My only question is, my only thing I would say is your tank commander is a bit lonely with just a single Lehman Russ. Don't be surprised if your opponents Alpha Strike that on the first turn. But I guess you kind of have 3 other artillery pieces rocking around, so it's not too bad. My recommendation would be you saved 15 points before. If you remember from the other recommendations I made, you saved 15 points. If you then drop the Stormbolter on the Hellhound, that gives you 17 points. Spend 16 of those points to buy your tank commander a couple of Heavy Bolter sponsons, because you might as well take advantage of it. If your opponent nukes him, then fine, whatever, you haven't really lost anything. But if your opponents don't nuke him, then you get an extra 6 Blitz Skill 3 plus Heavy Bolter shots a turn, which is great. Gives you some much needed anti-infantry. Because you can't really rely on mortars for anti-infantry. They just don't, they're not reliable enough with the random shots. But I guess you have your Griffin and your Hellhound as well. But yeah, overall, I want to say I really like the list. And overall, I think you've got a very balanced list. And if you took that list to a tournament tomorrow, I don't think you would do terribly with it. However, there are a few choices you can make to streamline it. The only overall criticism I would make of your list is you have a lot of one-off units. You have a one-off Priest, a one-off Veteran Squad, a one-off Basilisk, a one-off Manticore, a one-off Griffin, a one-off Hellhound, a one-off Tank Commander. It's a lot of just, a one-off Primaire Psyker. You know, it's a lot of just one units. And the key to victory with the Imperial Guard is to have redundancy. If it's worth taking once, it's worth taking 3 times. You know, minimum 2 times. Because there's the old saying with the Imperial Guard is you take 3 of every unit. Because the first unit's going to die, the second unit's going to run away, and the third unit's actually going to do its fucking job. So that's why you take 3 of everything. Or multiples of 3. So just bear that in mind when you're just taking a lot of these one-off units. I mean, we can see in the picture you've sent, you have a wide variety of units. You know, try and take advantage of that. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope it has been useful. You know, sorry, I don't want you to think I've been banging on about all the things you've done wrong in your list. I think your list is absolutely fantastic. I think your army is absolutely amazing looking. All I'm trying to do is offer some constructive criticism. But like I said, if you took that list tomorrow and, you know, didn't have time to make any changes, then I think you would still do very well. So there you go. My changes are relatively minor in the overall scheme of things. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful, and I will see you guys next time.